Good morning. Welcome to Your Money, Your Life, and to the Don Bullock Chevrolet Morning Show this morning. And welcome to Cheryl Braswell this morning.
Good morning, dear. How are you doing?
I'm good. I hope you are.
Yes, ma'am.
So we look so forward. You know, I think we look forward more every week because it seems like every week I just get more just confused and so hopefully we were just talking off the air. People don't know everything they need to know about Medicare. They just don't. Mm-hmm. And Shirley's here to educate us, and I know that the segment is helpful because I hear people telling me all the time, I did not know this and that. Mm-hmm. And so glad you're here. Let's get started this morning. What are we talking about?
You know, I've been reading again, and
well, that's a good thing.
yeah. Medicare puts out an annual report every year, and I got a hold of a copy a couple weeks back, and this is the Medicare Trustees Report. Mm-hmm. And the thing about this report, it's been pretty accurate over the years. So I do try to get one and read it from time to time. And this one absolutely shocked me because, you know, I'm 70 years old, I'm on Medicare, and, you know, so I'm paying these things now, you know,
right.
just like anybody else is on Medicare. You know, one of the two of the things that you pay for as you get into Medicare, you know we have like a Medicare supplement plan, and you think, well, mine's reasonable, and I've got a prescription drug plan, and I pay about $20-30 a month for that because that's gone up a whole lot in itself.
Right.
But the thing that we don't think about, because you don't see this, you have a premium that you pay for Medicare Part B. That usually comes out of your Social Security check, so people just, you know, out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
They don't remember, they don't think about what they're actually paying for.
Right.
And right this minute, you know, that's $185 a month is the premium for that. And so you're like, well, what's Part B? What is that for? That is the part of your original Medicare is Part A and Part B. Part A is the hospital. Right. Super easy way to say it. Part B is, you know, kind of the doctor's office, the doctor's right. side. You know, it's your medically necessary outpatient care, doctor's visits, your durable medical equipment
right.
comes under that. You know, my dad, you know, we have he has an oxygen machine that's covered.
Yeah.
You know, through that.
CPAP machines, all kinds of things
as long as it's
like that.
Medically necessary, you know, your doctor has said, you know, this person needs this.
Yes.
You know, that's what it takes care of. And like I said, it comes out of your Social Security check, and so most people just are not real aware of what they're paying for. But this is what got my attention. This absolutely blew my mind. This is what they are showing, and again, they've been pretty accurate in the past on a lot of these things. They're showing what they are anticipating are going to be the increases in this Part B premium.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, I looked at this, you know, this is over a 24-year stretch. So if I live to be 94 years old, this is what I'm looking at. Today, we're paying $185 for monthly premium for Part B. So from 2025, from now through 2033, they are anticipating that this is going to increase by a little over 8% a year.
Golly day.
So
8%.
So from now to 2033, I want you to wrap your head around this. We're going from an $185 a month premium to a $348 a month premium. That's almost literally, you know, almost doubling, you know,
Yep.
in that period of time.
Sure is.
And You know, I'm here to tell you, I'm obviously work with a lot of people who are, you know, retiring or coming into retirement, and you know, we help them set up their money primarily for income. You know, because what do you need when you retire? Most people want a check.
Yeah.
You know, how much money will I have every month?
Right.
So, you know, we help them put those things together, and I have found, you know, over the last 10 years, hardly any financial planners get into the true cost of Medicare in their planning. You know, they just absolutely do not do it. And you
Well,
know,
it needs to be talked about.
it does. And, you know, again, you saw that huge jump, you know, almost doubling in that period of time. And if you run it out from 2034 through 2048, y'all, this is incredible. Projected in 2048, so I'd be, you know, 94, 95 years old. My Part B premium would be $775 a month.
So it doubles the 300 and some dollars.
Right.
Woo!
Yeah. And that, you know, they're saying that period of
700 and some
time
I mean,
is going up about 5% a year. So, you know, it's a little better. So you know, that's for a typical, say if you take a couple, husband and wife that are mid-50s now, 55 years old, what that would mean for them, just their Medicare premium, okay, over their lifetime, would be $358,000.
what could you do with $358,000?
Right. That's not counting your medicines. You know, that's not actually counting your, you know, the cost of your medications. It's not accounting for any type of long-term care rehab situation that you might need to do. It's just talking about premiums.
I think we just think about it as $180 some a month and move on. We don't really think about how much in the long run the
Well-
cost is, and it is.
Well, you know, I think about just the last couple of years, it's gone from basically about $160 a month to $185.
Right.
And this past year, it went up $9 and change, almost $10. And I was kind of amazed at the people who just really were like, holy moly, this thing's gone up $10, you know. And so, yeah, people just, they don't have a concept of what it could possibly be. And they don't, you know, we're not planning for it.
It's got to, I was going to say, it's got to be considered in your long term
Yeah.
when you go to see whoever you see about your financial
Yeah, and,
situation.
you
It's
gotta-
got to be considered.
You got to ask about it. You know,
Yeah,
you got to
ask
ask
if they
about
don't
it.
say anything.
And
Exactly.
you know, you got to be point blank. You know, how are we going to anticipate, or how are we going to take care of, you know, the cost of my, you know, for lack of another term, you might say my health insurance, you know, in retirement, my Medicare, and you got several moving parts. I mean, you've got your Part B premium. If you're taking you know, if you have a Medicare supplement, then you're paying for that supplement's premium. You have a Part D plan, which is your prescriptions. If you're going that route, that has a premium to it. And you say, well, I've got Medicare Advantage, I don't pay anything. Wrong. What you pay with Medicare Advantage is co-pays and co-insurance.
Right.
And the average plan today, we're talking $7,000 to $8,000 a year copay situation. So, you know, if you're healthy, great. But for the real problem I see out here is that people who are on Medicare Advantage, they have not planned for
Right.
that difference, you know, what could be there. And cancer is a huge problem.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, if you have a Medicare Advantage plan that's got an $8,000 max out-of-pocket number, and you get diagnosed with cancer in July, August, September, I promise you're probably going to, you know, depending on the cancer, you're probably going to run up a $7,000 or $8,000 bill by Christmas. And then on January 1st, guess what? it starts over.
Yeah.
So you conceivably could be, $15,000 in debt in about 5 or 6 months.
Wow.
And that's,
Scary.
that's what you got to pay.
Right.
That's what you got to pay. So,
Very good information. Very good
yeah,
information.
you got to, you got to make your money really work for you. When you get into that. And I've met in the last month. We've really had a pretty good influx of people who are coming into retirement here.
Yes.
And most of them, most people I work with, they've been working with another advisor for X number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, so how are you going to take care of this? How does your plan take care of that? And what we find out is it doesn't. They've not really talked about that and really planned for it. So instead of their money lasting until they're 90 or 95, it's going to run out when they're 81 or 82. And unfortunately, or fortunately, how you want to look at
Right.
it, most of us are going to probably live into our 90s.
Well, we hope so.
You know. And
life
I figure
expectancy now has really.
your doctor's going to keep you alive.
Yeah.
Medicine's
Yeah.
going to keep you alive. And so you have got to
Prepare for it.
prepare. You've got to have, obviously you want to build your savings over time, and then you have got to build an income plan. How am I going to do my distribution over the next 30 years?
Right.
So, you can't leave a whole lot of cash sitting around. You got to make it work. You got to make it work, and we see that with a lot of people have way too much money sitting in, checking account, savings account,
Right.
Short-term CDs and things like that. There's better things to do. So I mean, with like just using the Medicare example, just using that, you've got to outpace those increases. And you've got to, the big bugaboo word that most people know about, but they're not really planning for it, is inflation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I mean, my gosh, over the last 5 or 6 years, we've seen that just hit us right between the eyes.
Yeah.
Eggs going insane. Just
yeah.
food going up like crazy on a lot of things. Just the cost of food itself has been tough on people. But fortunately, we can sit down with you, go through this thing,
Absolutely.
help you figure out, an income plan, whatever you need to do there.
And you don't
get you
charge
prepared.
for a consultation
Correct.
to sit down with them and just go over
Right.
and say, okay, this is,
Mhm.
if you want me to help you, this is what we need to do
Yeah.
to move forward.
Yeah, and that's literally we sit down and come up with an outline of here's what we need to do, here's the steps we need to take, and I've got my little secret sauce of how we do things, and we put this plan together for you, and execute on it.
Absolutely. Well, it's certainly a good thing to do, the way the economy has been and our money, and Cheryl, people are still telling me all the time, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Then I heard some older folks say the other day in our community, they were in a meeting, and they said, I've held my money, I've held my money, I've held my money. We just let it sit there. And people don't want to do that anymore. They said people are scared to death. I've let my money sit there. We made a lot of money doing that. I mean, they said we have done well just letting it sit. So cool it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's things you can do that are very conservative that really do well over time. Truly, it really is, and it's just planning. Planning is not rocket science.
Right.
Truly, it is not. I
And
think,
don't plan to put your money there and get it back out. Don't plan a short term.
right. Yeah,
and people
don't use a short-term mentality.
don't
It will
use
destroy
that.
you.
Exactly.
It will destroy you.
Right.
You've got to be looking at the long game. You know, what am I going to need to do 12 years from now or 20 years from now? And people say, well, I may not even be here then. I said, this is true. You may not be here, but,
But you may.
surprise, surprise.
But you
suppose
hope you are.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Suppose you are here. And, you know, again, I can go back to 2008. That was my first really big market drop that I was, you know, working in. And I had gone to my clients in the year or two before that and said, look, you know, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but over the last 3 or 4 years, we've made a heck of a lot of money.
Right.
A lot of money. And, you know, we need to start taking it, you know, out of the volatility part of the market and move it into a little more conservative, a little safer things to do.
Right.
And, you know, literally all of my clients but 2 said, okay, yeah, that makes sense, so let's start working on that. These 2 folks, both of them were in their mid to late 70s and had been, you know, not listening to me very well over time, because they were like, if we made, you know, whatever we made that year, well, I'm going to take that out, and that's what will be my living money this year.
Right.
And you know, as a result of that, I mean, those 2 fellas lost over half their money.
Oh, wow.
Before, and then finally it's like, well, I guess maybe you were right. What can we do now? And I'm like, it's kind of late.
Well, if you think you know what to do with your money, why would you go? Listen, you should listen to your doctor, your lawyer, and your financial advisor, right?
This is true. This is true. Let's stay out of jail, stay out of the hospital.
Absolutely. And
keep
your
money.
accountant.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the accountant.
This is true.
Anyway, well, thank you, Cheryl, for coming
Yes,
this
ma'am.
morning. Some really good stuff, things we did not think about, as usual, you bring up, and that is good for us to know. So 316-8166. Give Cheryl a call. Make sure you make an appointment.
Yes.
So he'll be there, because he does go out into homes. And if you're shut in, or if you don't get out much and you just feel like you need him to come to your home, he'll certainly do it. But you are located where?
880 Country Club Road. We're right across the street from the Pizza Inn, and I call it the business condominium, sitting on the corner. We're on the far right-hand end, closest to the intersection.
Very easy to find.
The very end unit. Yep.
Yes, you
Come
can
to the
leave
front
there.
door and look to the right.
You can leave there and go get your pizza if
There
you've
you
got
go.
any money left.
That's
If not,
it.
if you do. But anyway, thank you, Cheryl.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you in 2 weeks.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we will be right back. We have a special segment coming up to talk about National Day of Prayer.